Hello class, this will be a brief video to go over Module 3, Assignment 2, which is selecting a topic or problem. This assignment is due November 12th. And to jump right in, I want to do a quick overview of our last assignment. So assignment 1, you went through the process of determining problem statements and then going through the process for your root cause analysis. So for your problem statements, the feedback that I wanted to provide is it must include specific data points, which means you have to have numbers in there, percentages in there, something that is understandable to someone on the outside and will translate into a goal later. You should also compare to a baseline. So what do I mean by that? Either the state comparison or comparing to the district. Because if you're listing something as a problem, but you're not comparing it to anything, well, then how do you know it's a problem? This is an example just from a TASE resource. And so it's very simple. And it says ELLs have a 50% pass rate in reading. We would emphasize that of which is 20 percentage points lower than the state average. And the reason I'm showing you this is because you can see how the problem statement then transfers over to an annual goal. Remember your annual goals, you'll get into this, but it has to be a SMART goal. So the main thing with SMART goals, it has to be measurable. So that 50% pass rate transfers over to a 60% pass rate goal within reading. So I've graded everyone's assignments that were turned in as late as like about 7:30 p.m. Tonight on Monday, and I'll continue to grade them this evening and tomorrow morning. And I provided feedback. So if your problem statements did not have specific data in there, you do need to rewrite those prior to meeting with your campus principal. The next thing for your root cause analysis, you have your problem statement and then you went through listing 10 reasons of why that's occurring, digging deeper into 5 more, and then finally the last 5 reasons. You then went into your 2 circles of what you can control and what you can influence. And I think the most meaningful part of this process is the 5 whys. I wanted to talk a little bit about the 5 whys, and it could be taken very simple and you just ask basic questions, or you're taking it that step further of asking those tough questions. And when you get a possible answer, that answer should allow you to dig deeper into your problem. So some of the things that I saw when I was going through the responses is when you were giving a possible answer, it was something very basic. So let me just give an example here. If we're talking about 7th grade writing, and sixth grade teachers do not see writing as important. Well, why don't 6th grade teachers see it as important? Because it's not a tested subject. Why is it not a tested subject? Well, because the state decided it's not. You notice then your conversation stops and we're putting the blame onto another entity. We're putting it back on TEA, and that doesn't help. So instead of saying 6th grade teachers don't see it as important, yes, it's because it's not tested, but that's a very basic answer. Why don't 6th grade teachers see it as important? Yes, because it's not tested, but could the possible reason because administrators don't emphasize it within PLC? Is it because of the district not emphasizing it? Our curriculum? Your questions and answers should allow you to dig deeper. If you get to a point that's a basic answer and you can't go further, then you need to start over on that question. And there's no rule that says you just have to go with your first set of 5 whys. If you get to the bottom, you're like, oh, that really doesn't answer what I was looking for, or it doesn't, dig deep and give that answer that we're looking for, then you can start over. So I did provide some feedback on those of you that have turned things in. If your root cause really doesn't give a reason that can be turned into a strategy, then you need to start over. So here's an example. Lack of teacher understanding for instructional strategies needed to meet linguistic needs of ELLs. Notice that's a root cause, so teachers don't have an understanding, and that can turn into a strategy. So implement sheltered instruction campus-wide. If your root cause was that 7th grade writing wasn't important because it's not tested, well, we can't fix that. There's no strategy to fix that. If it's more of a systemic issue at the campus or professional development or curriculum, then your strategy can be aligned to that. Okay, so that's just some feedback. You can edit what you had because the next step is meeting with your principal and possibly the campus improvement team if they're available. So what you're going to do is you're going to meet with your principal and anyone else who's available with you this week and discuss the analysis process that you took. That's why it's very important when you meet with them that you've adjusted your problem statements to have data and that your root cause analysis is meaningful. The goal of your assignment, you share your process that you took in last week's assignment, and then you need to ask your principal and leadership team, did they do something similar? Did they go through a root cause analysis? Did they do the 5 whys? Or what did they do when they were creating their campus improvement plan? And if the principals say, we didn't, we just looked at our data and we listed that as a priority, that's okay too. Certain schools have different methods. Now, we're learning the best way of going through that process, but please make sure if you're asking these questions and principals are answering truthfully and honestly, that you don't give the vibe that that's incorrect. You are learning from them and their process. Here, like I said, determine if the campus identified the same or similar problem. Okay, so first step, you're asking, what did they do? Because here's what I did. And then if you identified reading in the 8th grade for ELLs, ask, do you have that problem? Is that listed in your campus improvement plan? Finally, and most importantly, you need to agree on a topic or problem that will be the focus for the remainder of your program. So if you had your 3 priorities listed, and I know our root cause only focused on one, but the principal says, you know what, I really think this other priority you listed will get us, more meaningful data. There'll be more PD opportunities. We see that as a higher priority. You can absolutely switch at this point. This is an agreement between you and that principal of what you're going to further implement. It's not in this course, but you'll be providing professional development on a strategy attached to your problem. So if I go back here, if this is the root cause, you're going to come up with your own strategy of what you're going to do to support that at your campus in a later course. That's why it's very important that you agree on the topic. Okay, so if I go back to Blackboard, here's Module 3 Assignment 2, and these are talking points. For your discussion. What outcomes do we want for all students? What root causes and needs were identified by the needs assessment process? That's yours and the campus. How are the prioritized needs identified in the improvement plan? Are any of the low performing groups missed? So a lot of you had a priority that was very broad, 8th grade ELAR or ELAR on the campus. You do not want extremely broad problems like that because you have to be able to create a SMART goal from it. So if reading in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade is a priority, what will you focus on with your strategies, which means your professional development and your further support? Are we selecting a need out of habit or based on current data? So you're going to learn throughout your career as a leader is SPED and LEP. That is always the 2 areas that we know we need to focus on, but sometimes that's a habit. And special ed population may have had an area of growth for 1 year. It will always be lower than the general population, but are we really looking at data? Are they aligned to your core values? And then that's that final thing. And I just added this to the assignment tonight, so this may look a little bit different, but agree on a topic and problem, and then determine if the strategies are already planned in the campus improvement plan or if you will be coming up with something different. So you're not coming up with a strategy right now. So if the principal's already, okay, we're going to focus on special education, I want you to come up with a training on co-teaching. That's coming soon in the next class. So you can begin working on it now and talking to your leadership team. But at this point, what you're asking them, just making up an example, if you're focusing on reading for the special ed population, your question to the principal is that already listed in your campus improvement plan? And do you already have strategies planned that I can assist with? Or is this an area that I need to come up with strategies to help you out? two very different scenarios there. There's nothing wrong if they already have strategies picked and they want you to take one over. That's perfect, but you may also be coming up with your own. Lots of different topics here, so how are you going to create your assignment? If you remember back at the beginning, I want to say maybe our second or third assignment, I sent you guys a template. I'll post this again within the announcement today. We've strayed away from APA format, and it's one of the most important things that you have to learn. So if you notice here, title of the paper is your running head, and it stays up at the top. So I've already set it for you. You put the title of your paper here, and then I know it seems redundant, but you need the heading again. So if the title of the paper is interview, it's all caps for this one, interview with a principal. Very basic, okay? So if that happens, you can just come back over and fix your spacing. Interview with the principal, then you rewrite it here, interview with the principal, and it's once again, it's your title. Now notice I don't have it caps there. So interview with the principal. So you can come up with a better title than that one. Don't use this one. But what does it say on the second page? Heading for introduction is the title of the paper. So again, you list it here. You provide an introduction. You are making a very clear thesis statement. So when you write your introduction, that should give the reader a clear understanding of what's to come. And then you have section headings. These are the main points. So if you were to look at the questions here, you could group these into different paragraphs or section headings. So if this is the campus data analysis process, you could explain here of what you learned from the principal. What did you ask the principal? What did they explain? You don't have to put things in direct quotes here, just paraphrase of what was said. And then the next heading may be, I'm going back over here. Selecting a problem. Maybe you're looking at, how did we select it? Need, or was it based on data? Is it aligned to the core values? And I'm just making up examples here. You could have as many headings as you want. You could have one for every bullet if you wanted here. And then maybe the last one could be something about agreement on a problem. And then you always have a conclusion. It stays written as conclusion, and you summarize your main points. Okay, you can have multiple paragraphs under a heading. So you could have the second paragraph here and keep typing. Okay, multiple can be under a heading. So I'll post this template, but just a reminder on how it works. Notice your title is not bolded, but it is centered. It's not caps. The only thing that is capital is the title of your paper. Okay, so this assignment is due next Monday, which is November 12th. So you need to get in to meet with your principal within the next 4 days to have that interview and talk to them about this process. You can be very informal when you're meeting with them, you're writing notes, then you come back and you type up your paper for submission. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you.